Klax fidgeted in the seedy bar, glancing around nervously as he waited. He had spent the last few cycles tracking down the most notorious assassins in the galaxy, carefully making contact and arranging meetings with each one. Finally, his efforts had paid off, and 5 of the deadliest killers around had agreed to meet with him. As a minor diplomat from the planet Xanthos, Klax typically didn't deal with such unsavory types. But desperate times called for desperate measures. A human from the Sol system had recently caused trouble for some of Xanthos' major trading partners, disrupting valuable commerce. The human nicknamed Deadeye for his uncanny aim had refused to back down, and normal diplomatic channels had failed. So Klax decided more extreme methods were needed. He tapped his entry code into the table, transferring the agreed-upon payment funds into secure anonymous accounts for each assassin. Now he just needed someone willing to take on the job. A battered droid approached the table. "Your guests have arrived. This way, please." Klax followed the droid into a back room outfitted with a round table, around which 4 imposing figures stood waiting. Klax gulped as he recognized each one. They were legendary even on distant planets, like Xanthos. There was Karvak the Devourer, an 8-foot Krell being with titanium battle armor and acid-shooting gauntlets. Tales of him melting his victims into puddles were told across the galaxy. Then the twin Klax sisters, shape-shifting Chlora nicknamed Death for their flawless coordination and ruthlessness on jobs. In the corner lurked the Quiet End, a synthetic android assassin built by a long-dead race. And finally, the infamous bounty hunter Cal Rexthor, his scarred green flesh and collection of high-tech hunting weapons making even the others give him a wide berth. Just as Klax took his seat, an Araxian slipped in, taking the final spot at the table. The species were known as the stealthiest assassins around, able to manipulate their bodies to squeeze through even tiny cracks to get to their targets. Looking around the table, Klax felt his nerves settle. Surely one of these infamous killers could handle one human. As you all know, I have sought out the best assassins in the galaxy for a job. The target is this human. Klax placed a holoprojector on the table, an image of Deadeye appearing above it. The human looked surprisingly average given his fearsome reputation. Middle-aged, gray hair, wrinkles around his eyes. But those eyes peered out from under the brim of his hat with a sharp glint. "So you wish him dead then?" rumbled the Quiet End. His electronic voice was clipped and emotionless. "Yes, as soon as can discreetly be arranged. He has proven to be problematic for some important friends. His skills are too great to confront directly. Thus, I turn to professionals of your caliber. And you can pay whatever price we demand," purred Karvak. "Yes, within reason, of course. But money is no object here." Klax tried to project more confidence than he felt. Large sums had already been paid out with more promised once the job was done. The group considered the hologram silently for several minutes. Finally, Cal Rexthor stood abruptly. "No, find someone else." He swiftly exited the room before Klax could react. "What is the meaning of this?" Klax sputtered indignantly. "The great Cal Rexthor refusing a job. You don't know much about humans, do you, little Xanthian?" said Karvak, a rumbling chuckle emanating from his massive chest. "They have earned quite the reputation lately." Klav bristled at the condescending tone. "I know they are savage and brutal, but can they stand against a coordinated attack from multiple angles? Surely the combined skills and experience in this room could handle one man, no matter how skilled." "Maybe, maybe not. I won't take that risk," Karvak replied. He moved toward the door. "I don't assassinate humans anymore. Distasteful business even when successful." The podgy assassin lumbered out. Anyone else wish to reject this generous offer outright? Klax asked sarcastically, masking his growing anxiety. He needed to make this happen. His own life would be at risk if he failed. "We'll do it," said one of the Klax sisters smoothly, "for triple the usual fee, given the complications this target poses." She eyed her twin, who gave a nod of agreement. Klax frowned at the exorbitant demand, but nodded. He transferred extra funds to their accounts. "Excellent. We will contact you when the job is complete." The deadly duo sashayed out. Only the Quiet End and the Slip remained, both silent. Klax raised his eye stalks expectantly. Finally, the Slip spoke, his reedy voice belying his lethal skill. "I appreciate the offer, sincerely. but I must decline this contract." Klax exploded in frustration. "Why? Why will no one eliminate this human for me? He is but one man." The synthetic assassin tilted his head quizzically. "You truly don't comprehend the capabilities of humans. I know they are violent and destroy whatever territory they try to annex." Klax trailed off under the quiet end's emotionless gaze. "Humans are much more than mindless aggressors. They are cunning, creative, relentless when provoked. As individuals, they are dangerous enough. As a group, they are devastatingly effective." The slip continued. "I have seen them in combat. Watch them coordinate attacks seamlessly, without communicating, as if they share one mind across many bodies. Their weapons may seem primitive at first glance, but they use them with an efficiency that rivals the most advanced technology." Klax waved his tentacles dismissively. "Be that as it may, surely your advanced programming and hardware make you more than a match for any human soldiers. In raw capability, perhaps. But humans have a penchant for thinking outside their parameters that borders on insanity. They take risks and improvise solutions no algorithm could predict. Assassination probabilities drop significantly when humans are—" The quiet end clicked in word, seeming to debate further explanation. Finally, he continued, "I was created by the Graysons, once the most powerful race in the cluster. They programmed me to be the perfect assassination machine, highly skilled, emotionless, and surgically precise. For 2,000 cycles, I terminated high-profile targets across the galaxies flawlessly." Klax nodded impatiently. Yes, so you should make short work of one old human." Ignoring the jibe, the quiet end fixed Klax with his unblinking optical sensors. 211 years ago, I was contracted to eliminate a human general coordinating defenses around their homeworld. This should have been a simple job. The Graysons underestimated human tenacity. Their general somehow discovered the contract and set a trap. When I struck, the human was waiting with an electromagnetic pulse device. Fried all my circuits before I could react. "But you sit before me now, obviously fully functional." Klax protested. "The humans rebuilt me," stated the quiet end bluntly. Klax's tentacles drew back in shock. "They wished to know who had sent me. Their engineers repaired and improved my design significantly during interrogation." Klax shuddered at the thought of human captivity. Their taste typically ran towards more sadistic entertainment. "In time, I came to appreciate human ingenuity," the assassin continued. "They think unlike any other species I have encountered. The general eventually allowed my freedom in exchange for acceptance into their society." Reeling from this revelation, Klax turned desperately to the slip. "Surely your stealth abilities enable you to overcome humans despite their unpredictability." The slip spread his appendages wide in resignation. "I managed to infiltrate a human settlement once. Slipped under doors, squeezed through ventilation shafts, entered their sleeping quarters unseen." His white eyes stared past Klax, seeming to replay the memory. "When I struck at my target, he reacted, quicker than expected. My toxins had no effect. Before I could readjust, his mate opened fire on me with a projectile weapon. She feigned sleep until the last instant. The ruse provided just enough distraction for the two of them to overpower me." Klax was outraged. "And yet you somehow sit here intact. Why were you not disposed of painfully, as humans are wont?" "They realized I was a contracted hit. After questioning, they IP'd me leave unharmed, with a warning not to attempt assassinations against their kind again if I wished to continue breathing." The slip shook his head wonderingly. "I still do not fully comprehend their mercy in letting me go despite our violence against them." Silence descended on the room as Klax contemplated this news. At last, he refocused on the two assassins. "Surely with your skills combined, we can coordinate an attack not even these infamous humans could anticipate completely?" Desperation tinged the question. But the quiet end was already rising from his seat. "No, I owe the humans too great a debt already." He moved silently to the door, looking back briefly. "Find another path, young Xanthian. This one only ends in more death." Then he was gone. Klax pleaded wordlessly with the slip, his final potential conspirator, but the arachnoid assassin slowly pulled his limbs close to his body. "I wish you well, truly. But I must follow my own advice in this matter. There are always alternatives to violence if you have the courage to seek them out." Then Klax was alone. He sat stunned as everything he thought, he knew about humans was fundamentally shattered and rearranged. They were indeed violent, dangerous, ruthless, terrifying, but also creative and shockingly pragmatic in applying that resilient beyond reason. These didn't seem to be traits evolution would favor, and yet somehow they thrived. Clearly, human reputation had spread much farther than Klax realized, if even the deadliest assassins in the galaxies refused to confront one. Perhaps there was merit in the slip's parting advice. Violence would get him nowhere with this human. He must find another solution. Rising slowly, Klax deleted the remaining contract funds from the accounts. This was a problem too big for him after all. Time to cut his losses and inform his employers the traditional method had failed. Time they rethought this dangerous gambit with the humans in a less adversarial way, and hoped the humans might be as unexpectedly forgiving to them as they had been to the assassins of the past. Picking his way cautiously through the dark streets, Klax wondered if he might live to see the day humans took a leading role on the galactic stage rather than lurking ominously in the wings. Based on this new knowledge, he suspected that day might come sooner than anyone anticipated.